Ahora TV presenta Máxima Velocidad Podcast por más de 2 décadas, cubriendo el automovilismo profesional alrededor del mundo. Bueno, amigos, el día de hoy estamos con una de las leyendas, ¿qué puedo decir? Manteles largos, alguien de los años 2000 al 2025, sin duda alguna, uno de los nombres más grandes dentro de Fórmula 1 y es la leyenda Guenther Steiner. Mr. Guenther Steiner, welcome to Ahora TV. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you for having me.
Okay, I want to talk to you. I was saying in Spanish from the 2000 to today's date to mention Formula One, Guenther Steiner have to be one of the biggest names out there, and I'm going to ask you straightforward. Do you miss it?
No, I don't miss it because I'm still around it. I'm doing less races. Last year I did half the race. I did 12. This year I'm doing 12 because I'm doing TV. I'm not just standing around doing nothing. I'm doing TV work. So I'm still around, and I don't miss. I don't miss to be a team principal. I've done that long enough. But the only thing I would miss not being around is missing the people. That's what it is. The rest of it, it's pretty easy. I can watch it on TV, but the people, being still in contact with the people, it's pretty cool that I've got the opportunity to do that.
Okay, let's go into. I know you were in 2000. You were one of the. I can say one of the founders of Red Bull when Jaguar was bought by Red Bull, and then let's go a little bit forward to the Haas moment. You became the team principal on Haas. How do you see Haas right now? On my own knowledge, I've been following racing for 3 decades now, and I can see to have a Formula One race team, you got to have all the ingredients like a cake. You gotta have the egg, the milk, and but someone has to cook it, you know. And I strongly believe my personal feeling is they you were about to cook it right there. You had all the ingredients, but you cannot cook the cake if you don't have the ingredients. And I strongly believe that you were able to put all that in Haas. Do you agree with me? How do you feel about the Haas F1 team?
Yeah, I feel great. He gave me a big opportunity in my life. Obviously, I came up with the idea. Mr. Haas put the money in there. It was all good, but as you said, at some stage, I wanted to go further, and I don't own the team, and I don't have the rights. So I think the team is doing okay. But sometimes okay for me was not good enough. I wanted to go the next step, and as you say, maybe there was not enough vanilla in the
Okay.
cake. So and the cake is not to my liking. Maybe I like vanilla, and so put it this way. So uh, I think. I'm very happy where the team is now because I still know a lot of people. There are still a lot of people, and I'm happy for them if they've got success. But I'm not actually looking too much at that one. I look more broadly more in F1 what is happening, and I'm not for sure. I don't have any bad feelings about towards the people there, because I wish them. I always wish people all the success they can have because wishing something bad doesn't do anything good for me, to be honest. So, but no, I think they go their way and I go my way. That's the best way. I'm gonna cook my cake and they're gonna cook their cake. Put it that way.
Exactly. Let's stay with Haas and let me ask you, how were you able to put these two drivers, Magnussen and Hulkenberg, together? I know they didn't like each other. I know that. What was the key formula to bring them together and have them be part of a race team? We all knew that they didn't like each other. So it was going to be not only fighting for the championship, but also putting them in the same race team. It was going to be a very hard task. How were you able to do it?
I think I got very lucky there. There at some stage, they actually sat down between them and they agreed, what happened, put it behind us, and they got on. And obviously before taking on Nico, I spoke with Kevin and I said, Kevin, have you got still a problem with Nico because of what happened before? And he said, no, we actually, and he told me they met up at an airport. They were both bored. So they had to talk with each other because there was nobody else around, and they talked about it. And actually, did they become friends? Almost friends, but they got on very well. And I also spoke with Nico before I took him on. I said, "Have you got a problem with Kevin?" I said, "No, we cleared the air and we are ready. We are ready to move on. And that's the good thing in life. Sometimes you need to leave the bad things behind you. You just need to move on. It was a difficult situation for both of them when they had to run into each other. And then but they just moved on. They grew up and said, "Hey, there's nothing good in it for us to hate each other.
Let me ask you this. Now you go from four wheels to two wheels. MotoGP, a very competitive championship. I personally follow it. I have Pedro Acosta, who was the tech three-team driver last year. Rider, I don't call it driver, rider there. Why? Why go from four wheels to two wheels? What do you see that we don't see? Maybe Formula One brings you a lot of experience. Obviously, the how competitive and racing, but two wheels is a whole different book. Let's say a whole different landscape. You get why was that decision?
That decision, it was one of these things. I always like motorbikes, MotoGP racing, from the old days before MotoGP, when it was 500 cc. You remember that time. So, and I always liked it, but I never had time to spend on it because I always worked with four wheels. And then when the opportunity came that last year, I actually went to the race in Austin. And
Okay.
as a spectator, no intention of nothing. And I came away and I said, I actually like this. Let's see if there's an opportunity to buy a team, or to get a team, to get the license. So I came away from that race pretty, yeah, let's try to do it. And I spoke with Dorna, the Espeleta family, the two father and son, Carmelo and Carlos. And they told me you don't get a license, but you can try to buy a team. And that interested me a lot, and it was a project I like to do. And why I do it, why I like MotoGP, I think it's a very interesting sport. It is not as big as Formula One yet, put it that way. But what these guys do, the riders out there, it's amazing. If you watch it once, you get hooked to it, because if you think they're going over 300 kph or 200 miles and side by side into a corner. I mean, it's something amazing. These guys are real athletes, and it's very exciting sport. So I just loved it, and then kept on working, trying to find the money, the investment money, trying to find somebody who wants to sell a team, and in the end, I got it done. And I really look forward to be at the racetrack next year with the team.
Let me ask you now, going to the competitive of the race team. Are you going to stay with KTM? I know KTM motorcycle is struggling a little bit. It's not out there. Pedro Acosta has done a good job in the last two races being out there. However, he's going to take a big push to beat the Ducati. Marc Marquez just won the championship. The Aprilia motorcycle is out there too, so it's not an easy task. It's an uphill battle. Is your plan to stay with KTM? I know they've been a Red Bull race team for a long time, I believe so. But I want to talk about the KTM. I know KTM has been struggling a little bit. They were not sure if they want to continue or not. Is it in your plans to stay with the brand?
For sure, next year. Next year we stay with KTM. We've got a contract in place, and I always say KTM is a good brand. Obviously, I said they struggled a little bit as a company in general, beginning of the year, but if we can make it work, and what we don't have to forget, in 2027 there's a complete new regulation, smaller engines, in MotoGP. So everything it's again a complete new book, which is presented in 2027, and you never know until you get there who has got the best bikes there. So I think our aim is to stay with KTM, because consistency is something which is very good. You know each other, you know how to deal with it, and the team knows how to deal with KTM. But you always need to try to do the best for the team. I mean, our aim will be to stay with KTM, but obviously KTM has to show us that they in 2027 have got hopefully the best bike. That's what I hope. I mean, or if it is not the best, at least a very good bike that you can make it the best. So that is what it is. But that is a conversation for next year with KTM. But for sure, next year we are with KTM.
Let me ask you this about MotoGP. Now that the Liberty Media has taken over, you are also an American. So is it you see the opportunity there? How do you see the sport in the short term, midterm, and the long term? Is it you think is the way you see it's a good opportunity that the Americans have taken over MotoGP? Do you see a window there?
I really believe in it. Maybe not short term, midterm, because it needs a lot of work to build it up. But Liberty has done a good job in F1, and obviously Liberty cannot just copy what they did with F1. They need to find their own script, MotoGP, and it's easy to find because it's a very exciting sport. It just needs to be brought more to the people. people need to see what is there, how interesting the sport is, and then they will dial into it, you know. But it's not a short-term project, short-term these days, because we never have to forget MotoGP is already a big sport. You know, in Le Mans, in France, the France races, they had over 300,000 people on the weekend. You know,
Yes.
in Germany, in the Netherlands, they've got over 200,000 people on the weekend. And 200,000 or 300,000 people on a weekend, it's a big sport, you know. There's not many things around this big. So in America, obviously, it has potential to grow. But I think Liberty sees this as an opportunity. You know, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity to make it as big as it is in other places. And for sure, they will work at it. And I think the sport can do that one. I wouldn't say easy because nothing is easy, you know, but the sport has got the ingredients to get there. It just
Well,
needs to be brought to the people. More people need to be aware of how cool the sport is.
well, if someone knows how to do it, it's obviously Guenther Steiner. No, I got to read your second book. I got the first one, and we got to follow you and everything. I want to thank you for taking this opportunity to talk to AhoraTV. We know we're a digital channel for all the Hispanics within the U.S. Now that you live here, before we go, now I know you live in North Carolina. How's the Mexican food over there? Is it one of your favorite ones? I know Italians are good and good, but do you have a good Mexican burrito with guacamole? I mean, you're really reaching the Hispanics here, and you're as famous as Checo Perez. You know, Checo is a very good friend of mine, but Guenther Steiner is right there. You know, if you run for for president of Mexico, I wouldn't be surprised if you will be one of the top runners there. Everybody knows about Guenther Steiner. You know? But let's talk about North Carolina's got to be a place there where you can eat Mexican food.
Yeah, there is places, but it's not as good as in Mexico City. You know,
No.
I'm sorry. I always love to go to Mexico City, and I go to the Grand Prix this year again to Mexico. I wasn't there last year, but this year I go again and actually go to do an event in Mexico City. It's always, I mean, Mexico, the food, as you say, a good burrito, simple, but good. You know, that is what I like.
With guacamole,
Yeah, with
guacamole.
always.
Gunter, we want to say thank you. Anything you want to add to our people here in Ahora TV, all the Hispanics here within the U.S. and in the northern part of Mexico?
No, I mean, I always love to go to Mexico, and I appreciate all the people in the United States from Mexico, which put the hard work in here in this country. You know, really appreciate that one. And no, thanks for having me, Jesse.
Thank you, Gunter. The best of luck, man. Let's go and win in the MotoGP.
Thank you. We'll try to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner, and I wish you the best of luck. We'll keep following you.